BNO visa holders, so you are in the UK, but now it's 5 years on. What happens? What interviews do you need to have? What documents do you need to now fill in? Well, check out this video as Nigel will go through all of those details.
Doing it again, yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question. So let's imagine that someone has been successful with the BNO visa application. There is obviously after a 5-year period, something has to happen. Nigel, what has to happen after 5 years of someone coming to the UK?
So the Hong Kong BNO visa is only available for a 5-year period or potentially for a further extension if someone is needing to get to a point in which they're able to apply for settlement for indefinite leave to remain. And that's the critical thing that's got to happen after a period of 5 years residence in the UK in this category. One applies for indefinite leave to remain is what we call it. And that gives someone a right of permanent stay in the UK. It's not citizenship, but it is close to it. It allows you to stay here unrestricted, so no further applications, no more immigration health surcharge, access to public funds, no restrictions. And so that's the application that needs to be made after 5 years residing in the UK. And for that, it's really a matter of proving your continuous residence. And continuous residence means not having been absent for more than 180 days in any 12-month period. So that's really important for people coming over to bear that in mind. And there's also a requirement to pass what we call the Life in the UK test here, and to show that you are at a relatively high level of English language speaking, which for most people we're dealing with will be fine, but there is a test required for that. So those are the additional things that one needs to look at in preparation for that after 5 years.
On that 5-year review process, have you seen anything that has jumped out to say, oh, this application has failed because of this reason, other than ones that you've described?
So obviously we're only dealing in other categories of indefinite leave at the moment because no one has yet got to 5 years on a Hong Kong BNO, but generally they all work fairly similarly. And it is usually the absences that can be a problem for people, that they've they've fallen foul of that requirement. Character issues, if someone has been charged with a criminal offence and been found guilty and it's within a certain time frame, then that can also create problems. But generally, if you're here in this category, there is an assumption that all being well, you should be able to reach that point. So those are probably the only things that we tend to see come up.
So Nigel, I've heard from a personal experience, I will need to take that Life in the UK test soon. I've heard interesting stories about the questions, anything from pubs in the UK to the Queen. And kind of give an example of what are these kind of questions look like. These are not textbook questions. These are actually quite Life in the UK questions, aren't they?
They're very specific questions, and the irony is that most British nationals wouldn't pass it without studying up on the questions. They cover things like statistics such as the proportion of Asians living in London and things like that, which are not facts. But, the good thing is that there is a publication that's put out which has all the information, and it's not arduous. It's just a matter of reading it and having someone test you on it over and over. And then we very rarely see people who don't get through the test, if not the first time, at least the second time.
Wow. I had no idea that was the case. That's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay, so keeping on that theme, Nigel, I appreciate you've done an awful lot of time talking here, so I do apologise. And for anyone listening in, if you've got any comments or questions or thoughts, then please do share those on the live programme. We will get back to you for sure. There are many live events that you can register for free. There are 4 events that's showing HK to UK to help people move from Hong Kong to the UK. The Property Expert Panel. If you're a property investor or property developer, this will be very useful for you. Tax Q&A, if you want to ask proactive tax questions in regards to structures and how to mitigate tax in the future. And finally, UK tax return Q&A, as it says, to deal with questions in relation to your tax returns before you submit it to HMRC. Don't forget that these events are live and will be shown on YouTube the day after. So why not register today, start saving tax tomorrow.